And we're live. All right. So this is Matt Bertram, your host here of Business Houston podcast. I have Vic with TDT Plumbing with us today. And crazy enough, I actually live right around the corner from his office. We were discovering that in the pre-interview. Vic, it's great to have you with us.
Thanks a lot, Matt. Looking forward to, basically sharing our knowledge and expertise with the audience and answering any questions that you have or that perhaps the audience has.
Fantastic. All right. So, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started, Vic, and then maybe a little bit about your company?
Okay, terrific. I'm basically a chemist by education, and I joined TDT Plumbing in 2007. And what really, it's amazing because TDT has some incredible technology, and that's really what attracted me to TDT Plumbing is that we're innovative, and we just don't do conventional plumbing. We bring in some really innovative technology. One in particular is called in-place pipe restoration, which is huge. My role in the company is basically as a business development director, and I dabble in the marketing and sales and basically bringing in new technology and that type of thing, seeing how we can parlay what we already have with some of the newer technology and making sure that our guys are up to speed on the technologies as well. So pretty much, we're a small company, relatively speaking, a little less than 25 employees. So we all pretty much do a whole lot of different types of things. So basically anything that needs to be done, we do.
Nice. No, I like to hear some of that cutting edge stuff. We were talking earlier about pool resurfacing, and there's some new technologies out there. So it's really nice to see some of the innovations coming out. Go into a little bit more about that because I think that the audience would be interested in that, and also tell us a little bit more, I guess, about the history of the company. Like I think people like to know. I loved hearing that you're wearing multiple hats. I think a lot of small business owners can relate, and how everybody's kind of a big team or a big family. But definitely want to hear a little bit more about y'all's story and a little bit more about this technology. So.
Sure, absolutely. Well, TDT Plumbing initially started as a forensic or investigative plumbing company,
Okay.
doing a lot of investigative work for insurance carriers. Anytime their adjusters could not confirm a water claim loss, they would get TDT Plumbing involved. And so we would come in and do all the forensic investigational work, present our reports to them, and then they would determine whether the claim was legitimate or fraudulent. Not such a big deal in Texas, but very huge in Florida. And and at that time, we were just strictly doing the investigative work. And then as more and more folks were asking us that we would do some of the repairs, um, there was no conflict of interest. We checked with our carriers and they said, no, it's really up to the homeowner to select whoever they want to do the repairs. So this is what we're going to pay.
Hmm.
And so from there, we evolved into pretty much a full service plumbing company. And then in 2001, we became an affiliate of Ace Duraflow. They're the folks that developed the in-place pipe restoration technology out of Southern California. And this is really innovative because it allowed homeowners or property owners an alternative to dealing with their deteriorating pipes, whether they be copper pipes or galvanized steel pipes that over the course of 20, 25, 30 plus years, they start developing problems. Everything from pinhole leaks, which is the one that really motivates everybody to do something. But there might be some other telltale signs before that, like presence of discolored or rusty water, low water pressure / low water flow, maybe isolated in one or two areas of the house, and in some cases throughout the house. But the pinhole leaks are the ones that really sort of get people to do something because it's causing damage now. And historically, the only way to deal with that was to either just do the point repair and then wait for the next leak to appear, or you were to the point where you have to do a complete repipe of the house. And unfortunately, when you do a repipe, you just have to do a lot of demolition of walls, in some cases ceiling.
Hmm.
So it's very costly to the homeowner because you're not only paying for the repipe, but you're also having to pay for all the cosmetic work that has to be done after the fact. And that can be really expensive when you combine both. Conversely, with the ePIPE technology, which is the in-place pipe restoration, uh, we don't have to do any wall demolition or ceiling demolition because we're able to rehabilitate that pipe in place. And pretty much we do everything with the pipe stub out of the wall. And that's pretty much throughout the house. So, for example, if you look underneath your kitchen sink, you have the hot and cold pipe stubbing out. Same thing for
Yeah.
the lavatory sink, same thing for the toilet, hose bibs, etc. And the only place that the pipes do not stub out of the wall is behind your bathtub or shower stall. And even there, the access that we make is minimal because we're and in a lot of cases the bathtubs will have an access panel in back of it, typically in the closed closet. So because we have to get directly on the pipe. And like I said, the bathtub and the shower are the only two areas that the pipes don't stub out of the wall. And so a homeowner can save several $1,000s by choosing the ePIPE method of dealing with deteriorating pipes. So it's an excellent way of restoring those pipes. What we do, we clean out all that corrosion, we sandblast the inside of the pipes, and then we apply an epoxy barrier coating to the inside of the pipe. And that protects the pipe from ever developing any corrosion buildup or pinhole leaks. And of course, there's a whole process that goes with this. There's a lot of preparation, if you will, to ensure that the end result is absolutely excellent. And
Hmm.
folks can go to our website and look at some of the videos that we have, or they can certainly call me and I'll go into the details of what's involved. But the bottom line is that it saves property owners thousands of dollars. And so it's just another way of doing it. And the beauty about TDT Plumbing, Matt, is we do both. We do conventional repiping and we do the epoxy coating. So we always present to the homeowner or property owner their options. And in some cases, it makes sense to do a repipe. In other cases, it doesn't. And that's, I think, why a lot of property owners like dealing with us, because we're not forcing somebody to make a decision based on just one technology. We say, here are the options, here are the benefits of each. And in your particular case, option A or option B may be the best one.
Wow. I'm getting educated here. I'm getting educated here. I actually, like when I think plumbing, like you've taken like plumbing like to a whole new level, right? And if you're looking it well, so and if you could talk about that a little bit more, what is a good candidate for repiping, right? So like because I just think of plumbing as, hey, I need something done, or there's a leak here or something like that. But when you're thinking like repiping a whole house, and also the cost benefit, and also um, a family member of mine just got a house completely redone, and I saw the inside of it, and I was like, that was water that like was getting pumped into the house, and it was, I think, lead, or I don't know what it was, but it was gross too.
Right.
It was, I mean, this was up in Fredericksburg. This was up, and so it was 40 years old, 50 years old, or whatever, and it was just gross. The water that like was being brought into the house. Like, can you talk a little bit about good candidates, or is it older houses, or how do you know if you just need a regular plumbing, or maybe you need a house repipe?
Right.
Or
Great question. Uh, Pretty much any galvanized steel pipe home or copper uh, uh, home that's plumbed with copper or galvanized is a candidate for this,
okay,
because the beauty about let's talk about galvanized steel pipe, because that's the majority of the piping in the Houston metropolitan area. Even though that pipe has developed some pinhole leaks or has some of the telltale signs that we mentioned earlier about low water flow / pressure or
yeah,
discolored / rusty water, the wall thickness of the galvanized steel pipe is still super. It's 1/8 inch thick, except for that area where you have the pinhole leak. And so we can take any pipe like that and pretty much rehabilitate to better than new condition, because once we clean it out and we apply this epoxy barrier coating to the inside of the pipe, that's a permanent solution. It has a 65+ year life expectancy, and that's under actual testing, not just someone saying, "Oh yeah, this will last 60+ years." That's under actual testing conditions, and so it's great technology. To give you an idea, we do everything from residential homes to offshore platforms.
Oh,
And so when
wow.
you stop and think about some of the platforms out in the Gulf, uh,
Yeah.
the folks that operate and own these platforms, the issue is not how much is something going to cost. It's rather we want to do this one time and never have to deal with it again, because it's rather difficult dealing with offshore platforms 190 miles out in the Gulf, right? So
Yeah.
when we've talked to Sun and we've done several jobs for them, it's amazing how they just choose this, because they realize immediately, those engineers know that this is a permanent solution. And so we do offshore platforms, hospitals, schools, office buildings, uh, hotels, etc. And so it's a technology that it really works and has proven itself.
Wow. Man, the experts over at TDT Plumbing, like you know, I mean, so you talked a little bit about the telltale signs, the water pressure, that sort of thing. Like what is like maybe over the life of having a house repipe, maybe is there cost savings associated with it? Like I mean, after you do it, I mean, I just, remember the image, and it wasn't lead. I guess that we don't want to be having lead pipes, but the galvanized steel, I guess it was just so nasty inside, and getting that all cleaned out. So there's multiple benefits, but I would think that from a cost saving standpoint, right? And like maybe other technologies, you might have to repipe however many years. I mean, I think that there's just a lot of people out here, based on what you said, are starting to think through some of this stuff. And if you could kind of maybe expound a little bit on some of the benefits, I think that would be great.
Sure. And to kind of go back a little bit, because you asked sort of, what are the benefits, or what makes one particular property a candidate for
Yeah.
epoxy coating versus a repipe. Give you an example. Right after Hurricane Harvey, maybe 6-7 months after the hurricane, we had a lot
Mhm.
of calls, people calling in and wanting to find out about the epoxy coating. So as I would get information from them and so on and so forth, I would get their zip code, and I said, by the way, did your house happen to flood? Oh, absolutely. It flooded. So, well, my guess is you've already removed, 4 or 5 feet of drywall throughout the house. Yes, we have. Well, at that point, I said, well, you know what? You may want to consider repiping. And they were like, well, wait a minute. We thought epoxy coating was better. And I would explain that the fact that they've already removed, 4 or 5 feet of drywall, the pipes are exposed. So they've already incurred the cost of the cosmetic work in the other phase of that project.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
so now they're at the point where, what, maybe we do a repipe. And so it's those types of things that we go over with a client. We've had situations where some calls and is inquiring about the epoxy coating. And as we get into the dialogue, it turns out that they're going to do some extensive renovations. So there again, I'll say, well, look, you really are in a position where you can go either way. And it's just a matter of preference. Now, some folks, for example, don't want any plastic piping in their home for various reasons. So in those cases, people will say, I still want to keep my galvanized metallic pipes, but I just want them restored and protected with the epoxy coating. So, we can accommodate that. In other cases, people haven't have, and again, people ask me, well, is one better than the other? They're both excellent to deal with the deteriorating galvanized pipes in your home. So they're both uh, approved, and so whichever method you choose is good. It's just a matter of, it comes down to really cost as in the final analysis. And on average, a homeowner may save about 30% by going with the epoxy coating, because again, there aren't any uh, cosmetic costs associated with that.
With tearing down the drywall and all
Exactly,
that sort of thing. Yeah.
exactly.
Makes
And
sense.
then that's sort of where folks look at and see if it makes sense to go in that direction. And of course, if you have high value walls, then that cost can be significantly more,
Yeah.
because there's just no way around uh, not being able to repipe without making access in the walls or ceilings in some case.
Hmm. No, makes a lot of sense. So big. I mean, I'm enthralled with like a lot of this conversation. So let's transition. You talked about Harvey a little bit. Let's talk about COVID, right? Like, how has COVID maybe affected your business? I mean, I know that a lot of people are working from home a lot more, so those pipes are getting a lot more use. I mean, is there things to be concerned with from kind of how people shifted behavior? And then two is, how has it affected your business personally? So
Right. Well, initially, Matt, I guess probably starting in probably around latter part of February, March or so, a lot of our projects were postponed because people were really concerned, and
yeah,
rightfully so, right? So they were really concerned about having technicians in their home, and since we were classified as an essential business, we
yeah,
we, as far as us coming to work and our technicians and all, we weren't affected in that respect. But certainly, homeowners and property owners were a little reluctant to have folks come in. And then again, we immediately started looking at implementing some additional safety protocols. As plumbers, we always have to deal with that, right? But COVID took it to the next level
yeah,
because now our technicians were required to wear masks.
yeah,
We were doing temperature checks. No, so we started doing a lot of the things that were being recommended by CDC and health providers to ensure that our people were safe. And of course, we don't want any of our employees infecting someone else or anything, or infecting other employees. So we continue with that protocol. Making sure that you absolutely, wash your hands and wear your mask, wear gloves, disinfect the tools from one property to the other. And those are some things that we were already doing to some degree, but of course we weren't wearing masks or anything like that.
yeah,
Now everybody's doing either the sort of the virtual handshake or the fist pump versus shaking hands and stuff. And again, we all stay 6 feet apart from folks, and everyone's doing that pretty much now. So things went back to, I guess, the new normal, if you will, where we're as busy as ever, and the fact that more people are staying at home or working from home has certainly increased the utilization of their plumbing facilities, right? So in some cases, we're getting calls to unclog a sanitary sewer pipe because maybe there's more going down the drain lines, or some things that shouldn't be going down the drain lines, especially if they have children at home.
hmm.
And now they're, hey, let me dump this little guy in the toilet, see if he can go around. Well, we discover things like that, but for the most part, some of that. And then one of the common things that always happens, particularly right after the holidays, the enormous amount of calls that we get for clogged kitchen sink drains, and that's always a result of folks just using that garbage disposal in a way that they shouldn't do it. In other words, it was meant really for the crumbs and that type of thing, not to dispose of a complete half a piece of steak or a potato. That's not good. So we always tell folks, don't use their garbage disposal for that. But yes, we've seen an uptick, if you will, in folks doing some more with their plumbing, and some of that is probably because of use, and other, I think, is because folks are now at home and realizing that, what, we probably really need to do something, and before we really didn't have the time to meet with a technician during the week and that type of thing, and now that they're home, that they have a little
Yeah.
bit more flexibility in saying, hey, you know what, I'm working from home, so any time is convenient. So we've seen some of that as well.
No, that's interesting. For people in the home service industry, that it certainly is timing and getting away from work. And now that they're working from home, there's a lot more flexibility in scheduling. I can absolutely see that. So tell me a little bit about the how you're a member of the BBB. Maybe what the BBB means to you as not just a business owner but also a consumer.
Well, I tell you what, being an accredited member of the Better Business Bureau is absolutely, we believe, is so valuable in so many ways, but particularly for a prospective customer, because we're totally transparent, right? And it allows a prospective customer to examine our track record, and just, if there's anything there that someone we haven't done right by, it's going to show up in that rating. So that's a key thing for us, because it allows us to be totally transparent. Before, we had a lot of folks, and we still do to some degree, they'll say, well, do you guys have references? Absolutely, we have references. But I always say, look, stop and think about it. What references are you actually going to receive? And they'll say, well, what do you mean? So, well, the only references anyone's ever going to give you is all the positive ones.
Yeah.
What's really important is, how does that company deal with a customer when something didn't go right, that they honor the warranty, that they respond to particular issues and things of that nature. I said, that you'll never know unless they're an accredited member of the Better Business Bureau. Because if something isn't done to the ethics of being an accredited member, all that customer has to do is contact the Better Business Bureau and register a complaint, and it gets immediately handled. So from that standpoint, we feel that we allow folks to really see who we are, and that it reassures them too that we conduct business in an ethical and fair manner.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people don't know or not aware that arbitration is something that the BBB does. So if someone files a complaint with a business, they actually have rooms where they can bring you in and they can work out and work through the differences, which I think is fantastic. I think, people know that they can register a complaint. If the company's part of a member, they can see what's going on. I think reviews in today's age, online, on Google, on Better Business Bureau, everywhere, Facebook, like people are looking at these reviews and they're kind of pulling together, like how, like there's actually data out there that shows that you need about 12 reviews for people to trust the credibility of it. Right. So there's a lot that's really, really important in generating reviews. Man, Vic, I'm so glad that we had you on. I've actually learned a lot here myself. Very interesting to talk to you. Is there anything else that you would like to share? And then also, how can people get in contact with you?
Okay, terrific. Well, one thing that we always recommend to any prospective homeowner or property owner, do your research. When you and one of the things that we do is we do workshops, whether it's for realtors, homeowner associations, or engineers, anyone that we all have plumbing in our homes, period, right? And it's amazing because I'd say that 90% of the people don't really understand their plumbing systems, right? Out of sight, out of mind. The only time it becomes an issue is when it's not working. And by that point, you really aren't in a position to do a whole lot of research or anything like that. You just need somebody to come in and repair something. Unfortunately, there's a lot of plumbing contractors out there that take advantage of folks, and particularly the elderly. So we always tell people, look, give us a call. I mean, I'll tell you, it's amazing how many times we've talked to folks, and they're surprised that we're able to diagnose a problem, and in some cases, they're able to deal with the problem themselves. And they'll say, you know what? No one's ever done that. We called somebody and said, oh no, we need to come out and charge you X amount of dollars and all. And we said, look, if we can help you save money, especially in these times, right? We're going to do so. And even after we provide all this information, we said, look, shop it around, and if you get a better deal, terrific. But if not, call us and we'll be happy to resolve the problem. So I always encourage folks to talk to several folks, learn about what the issues are, and always, again, if you have a homeowners association or anything like that where you'd like to set up a workshop, we'll be happy to come in and talk about various different things, some of the preventive maintenance programs that we encourage people to implement, whether it's in a business or home, because there's a lot of little things that can be done before something becomes a major problem. So that's key. The other thing I always say, look, try to do business with an accredited member of the Better Business Bureau, because you know what you're getting there. There won't be anything that will be a surprise. Yeah. And so I encourage that. And then as far as business owners, folks, I said, deliver what you commit to, and
Yeah.
always do it with, deliver excellence. Make sure your team, your technicians, etc., have that same philosophy that represent the company, because we don't. We're in the office, 90% of the time. It's our technicians that are
Yeah.
actually out there, and we rely on them to really kind of carry our philosophy out to the field. And we're very blessed because we have some great technicians, and a lot of our jobs, Matt, is actually through word of mouth. You'd be surprised how many times we have folks that we always ask, "How did you hear about us?" And they'll say, "Oh yeah, well saw something on Nextdoor, or I talked to a neighbor, or I had a friend at the office that
Yeah.
mentioned you guys."
Yeah.
And so those are key things, both for homeowners and any business owners out there, whatever services they provide, that they instill in their team that it's about delivering quality service at a fair price, and so on.
No, I could tell you, it is so much a reactionary industry, right? So you don't think about it, you take it for granted, and then when you need something, you scramble to figure out who to call. I really like how y'all are proactive. You're engaging the community, the education, the workshops,
Yes.
and getting to know the trusted source. Like people do business with people that they know, like, and trust, and so. I think that, the experts at TDT Plumbing are absolutely doing that. I mean, Vic, if someone wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to reach out and get in touch with?
And the best way is to certainly give me a call, 713-697-2088, or go to our website. We have an excellent chat program that folks can, just key in whatever questions they have, provide us with your phone number and email, or one or the other, and
Uh-huh.
I'll be happy to contact you and kind of find out what the issues are, and see what the next step is as far as what needs to be done and that type of thing.
Awesome. Well, Vic, thank you so much for your time. Enjoyed having you on a Business Houston podcast.
Well, thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate the opportunity to be